Media manipulation is a series of techniques which are used by political parties and news channels to create an image or an argument that favors their particular interest. It includes the use of logical fallacies, psychological manipulation, outright deception, rhetorical and propaganda techniques, and often involve the separation of information or points by crowding them out. Some of the major forms of manipulation are internet manipulation, clickbait, propaganda laundering, distraction by major events, and distracting the public.
Journalism, since its conception, has traversed on a journey. It began as just the simple task of investigating and spreading news, and since then has evolved to selling news. The term sensationalism refers to media coverage that's controversial, shocking, graphic, and appealing to the lowest instincts or focused on superficial details. The aim of sensationalist journalism is to engage the consumer and arouse strong emotional reactions in them. Another aspect of journalism that has caused damage to the populace by feeding on the lowest instincts is voyeurism. When a murder or suicide is covered by the media, they snoop into the victim's life and include every single unnecessary detail. In recent years, living in an almost authoritarian society, we have seen mainstream media combine both these tactics to sell news and to shape the general public opinion in support of the ruling party and its decisions. This rapacious side of media was exposed in the coverage of the suicide of Indian Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput. The media, with complete disregard for the actor's legacy and privacy, stooped into and sensationalized the actor's personal life. Indian Bollywood actor and Sushant's alleged ex-girlfriend, Riya Chakrabarti, was the victim of a baseless, derogatory and shameless media trial. She was stalked by journalists at every corner. Details about her personal life were displayed on primetime television without her consent. This is not okay. The media houses showed a complete lack of empathy. In the end, no one was held accountable for the trauma, disrespect, and sorrow caused to Sushant and those who were a part of his life. The Indian media fell to new lows. All this was accompanied with an ignorance for genuine concerning issues going on in India. A global pandemic was ignored to report the dimensions of Riya Chakrabarti's prison and her breakfast in there. All this for TRPs. The worst and the saddest part is they were successful in gaining these TRPs.
डोनाल्ड ट्रंप हिंदुस्तान आएंगे तो हम ये बताएंगे कि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री और हिंदुस्तान की सरकार हिंदुस्तान को बांटने का काम कर रही है, महात्मा गांधी के उसूलों की धज्जियां उड़ा रही है, और ये बताएंगे कि हिंदुस्तान की आवाम हिंदुस्तान के हुक्मरानों के खिलाफ लड़ रही है। अगर हिंदुस्तान के हुक्मरान देश को बांटना चाहते हैं तो हिंदुस्तान की आवाम देश को जोड़ने के लिए तैयार है। हम तमाम लोग सड़कों पर निकल कर आएंगे। आप लोग निकल। महात्मा गांधी की बात करी और बताया कि महात्मा गांधी ने अगर लड़ने का हमें सबसे बड़ा हथियार कुछ दिया है तो अहिंसा दिया है, वो सत्याग्रह दिया है। सिविल लापरवाही, सिविल डिसोबीडियंस और नॉन कोऑपरेशन, ये महात्मा गांधी के लड़ने के तरीके थे। अगर आज उस महात्मा गांधी के बताए हुए सिद्धांत पे अगर कोई चल रहा है तो वो इस देश की आवाम चल रही है, और इस देश की आवाम को अगर किसी ने रास्ता दिखाया है तो वो शाहीन बाग की औरतों ने दिखाया है। हम हिंसा का जवाब हिंसा से नहीं देंगे, हम नफरत का जवाब नफरत से नहीं देंगे। अगर वो नफरतें फैलाएंगे तो हम उसका जवाब प्यार से देंगे। अगर वो डंडा चलाएंगे तो हम तिरंगा उठा के लहराएंगे। अगर वो गोली चलाएंगे तो हम संविधान को हाथ में लेकर अपने हाथ को बुलंद करेंगे। अगर वो
From this, it is clearly evident how the media is trying to manipulate the public. This was done as he was speaking against the ruling party. By circulating the edited clips, it has led to violence and arrest of innocent people like him who just want to express themselves and want right for everyone. Umar Khalid is just a name that has come out, but in India there are many such people who are still fighting for their justice. It is very pitiful to see how some media channels pass on wrong information just for more TRP and earnings. It can be told that it is like someone is targeting him and making a campaign against them for their personal benefits.
Kashmir has been an ever-present issue for concern since India's independence. In recent times, the cause for concern has risen due to the disconnect increasing because of lack of representation. Over the past few years, Kashmir has faced a crisis of a massive scale as the Indian media has kept looking the other way. The land and people of Kashmir are also victims of Indian media's rampant hate-mongering journalism. They have been misrepresented in the mainstream media. The scrapping of Article 370 had left the Kashmiri people with a sense of displacement, while the Indian media presented them as people happy with the decision.
In India, there are many regional news channels who are partially or fully controlled by politicians or political parties. One of the reasons that politics and media are closely intertwined in these regions could be the fact that regional political parties are playing an important role in India, as they are particularly strong in reaching the mass, and the national parties like Congress and the BJP partnered with regional players during elections. These strong political outfits eventually choose to have their own mouthpieces, the media outlets. The ownership by people with political connections could easily impact news dissemination, leading to a perception of being potential propaganda machines that serve the agenda of a political ideology or thought. According to statistics and reports, BJP, the ruling party, has been the biggest advertiser in the past 5 years. According to the Broadcast Audience Research Council, the party has had more than 22,000 insertions in less than 1 week, which was almost twice as much as the second largest advertiser in the country, that is Netflix. According to 2017 figures, the Department of Audio Visual Publicity, which is responsible for allocating funds to media channels for printing outlets, has spent almost 21.34 million for Hindi and 14.09 million for English print advertising. Such large sum of money help political parties and the government to gain control over the media companies which are struggling financially. The financial struggles of the media companies often makes it difficult for them to sustain their business model and makes them more vulnerable to such dependencies.
Don't believe in one platform or one channel. Make your opinion only after a proper research. As power of social media has its disadvantages, it also has its advantages. So read news from platforms like Twitter, Google News, in shorts. It's not the best, but it will give you the most clear and crisp information. Follow what interests you, not what influences you. Know when to unplug from an issue. When you feel it's getting toxic and baseless, it's time to unplug. Follow private or individual journalists.
The media contribute to mental illness stigma through the exaggerated, inaccurate, and comical images they use to portray persons with psychiatric disorders, as well as providing incorrect information about mental illness. In India, psychiatric disorders are represented by distortion of images, gender bias, and distortion of the causes of mental disorders and their treatments. Negative effects of media on a child's mind due to factors such as immaturity and inability of the child to distinguish fantasy from reality. In addition, time spent with media decreases the amount of time available for pursuing other more healthy activities such as sports, physical activity, community service, cultural pursuits, and family time. Children who watch more television than their peers experience significant impairments in comprehending story, a crucial skill in achieving academic success.